Hello, good morning. Welcome to JoyNews Desk. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlimle. Coming up this morning, Anapia Mensa, also known as NAM1, in court this morning. We have updates for you. Also this morning, EC boss Mensa says Commission's decision to increase registration centers in Tamale demonstrates its commitment to register all eligible voters.
We immediately increased the number of registration stations from 2 to 3, and in some cases 4. We have heard of allegations from various quarters that the Commission is disenfranchising eligible voters. This is false.
We have more as Mensa chides Parliament for contributing to the current chaos by its failure to let the Commission's proposed CI pass.
It is important to note that this will not be the only registration exercise before the 2024 election. We plan to institute continuous registration in all our district offices nationwide in 2020 for a considerable length of time.
We have more, plus speak with one of the NDC MPs heavily opposed to the EC's proposed constitutional instrument. Also this morning, Parliament's Select Committee on Environment, Science and Technology blames poor enforcement and compliance to environmental safety standards for illegal mining activities pervasive in mining communities. We'll hear from Chairman of the committee following the fact-finding mission to Anto Aboso explosion site. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. We have details of all of these plus business coming up shortly. And Accra High Court is this morning hearing a case involving the embattled CEO of gold dealership firm Mensa Gold. The AG slapped Nanapia Mensa, popularly known as NAM1, with 36 counts of offences including money laundering, abetment, defrauding by false pretense, carrying on deposit taking without the requisite license, unlawful deposit taking, among other charges. This is a reduction from the initial 61 charges brought against him. The Attorney General commenced investigations against NAM1 in 2019, where he was accused of defrauding thousands of customers through his gold dealership firm over millions of Ghana cedis. The case has witnessed several adjournments until fresh charges were filed on August 30, 2023. The new charges come after Mr. Apia Mensa announced plans to unlock up funds to Mensa Gold customers after a payment of roughly 650,000 cedis for verification. Subsequently, he reversed the decision to require former clients to purchase a verification access card in order to verify transactions and validate claims of strong backlash from customers and the public. We are in court this morning. We'll bring you details in our subsequent bulletins. Now, Electoral Commission Chairperson Mensa says outfit's decision to increase registration outlets in Tamale demonstrates the Commission's commitment to ensure all eligible voters are captured on the national roll. The EC has come under intense criticism over its refusal to decentralize the registration process from its district offices. In particular, the Tamale Metro office of the EC has been fraught with faulty kits, long queues culminating into a very slow process. Addressing journalists, however, Mensa explained that following discussions with the Tamale North MP, Haruna Idriso, the Commission increased registration centers in Tamale and will continue to do so in other places when the need arises.
We immediately increased the number of registration stations from 2 to 3, and in some cases 4. Faulty kits were also swiftly replaced with spares that were available in the region. And so, for instance, in the Tamale Metro office, we experienced issues with the kits sent there, resulting in a registration figure of 4 voters only on day 1. We quickly stepped in and replaced the faulty kits, and the registration is going on there seamlessly. Additionally, to do with the long queues in the Tamale metropolis, we have increased their registration stations from 2 to 4. And I'm happy to note that on Saturday, they recorded a high of 269 registrations and 410 on Sunday, the 17th of September. I share these examples to demonstrate that as a commission, we are on the ground and working around the clock to ensure that every eligible voter who is eligible to register, or who is desirous to register as a voter, does so with ease. We have heard of allegations from various quarters that the commission is disenfranchising eligible voters. This is false.
Madam Jane Mensa has also been explaining that the Electoral Commission will embark on a continuous voter registration exercise in 2024 if its proposed constitutional instrument is allowed to mature into law by Parliament. She assures there will also be a mop-up registration in hard-to-reach areas of the country.
It is important to note that this will not be the only registration exercise before the 2024 election. In line with our plans to promote an inclusive participatory registration process, we plan to institute continuous registration in all our district offices nationwide in 2020 for a considerable length of time. In addition to that, we will identify difficult to access areas and undertake a mop-up registration of voters in those areas. Of course, we will rely on data from the Ghana Statistical Service and our own database to determine areas where the registration figures are low as a result of inaccessibility to our district offices. And I'd like to repeat this, that this is not the only registration exercise prior to the elections in 2024. In line with our plan to promote an inclusive participatory registration process, we plan to institute registration in all our offices nationwide in 2024 for a considerable length of time. In addition to that, we will identify difficult to access areas and undertake a mop-up registration of voters in those areas.
Speaking about the EC's proposed CI, the Commission says Parliament is partly to blame for the Commission's struggle to decentralize the registration process, as the failure of the House to pass its new CI has left the Commission in a very difficult place.
As you are all aware, the Commission prepared a draft CI for continuous registration in all district offices nationwide. This initiative started last year, and the registration we were envisaging under the draft CI was for a sustained long-term basis. Indeed, had the CI passed, we would have had some 6 months this year to register voters at any time of their choice. And I'd like to repeat it, that had the CI passed, we would have had some 6 months to register voters at any time of their choice in our district offices throughout the country. In this regard, ladies and gentlemen, our 2023 budget plan along those lines. Our 2023 work plan and budget was based on a continuous registration of voters in our district offices nationwide. We did not factor electoral area registration in our 2023 work plan and budget. Hence, our adoption of this method in line with our budget and our work plan, as well as our long-term plan and vision.
Jen Mensa is chairperson of the Electoral Commission. Let's get on to the phone and speak with ranking member on Parliament's Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee, Bernard Ahiafo, for more on the claims by the Electoral Commission's chairperson. I'm grateful for your time, Ms. Ahiafo. How do you react to the EC boss faulting Parliament for some of the challenges it's facing with its registration exercise? And she says it's because you have refused to let its proposed CI pass.
Well, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Let me use the opportunity again to extend my greetings to your cherished listeners. I disagree on certain areas with Madame Mensa, the chairperson of the EC, in the sense that I have been with the subsidiary legislation committee of Parliament who interrogated the CI during the pre-laying consideration. The only new thing that the proposed CI was seeking to introduce was the fact that the source document for registration was being reduced to only Ghana card instead of identification, passport, and Ghana card. Everybody can look at that particular CI. It has not introduced any new thing apart from the proposed amendment to Regulation 1 of CI 91 as amended by CI 126. Every other thing remains the same. So if Madame Mensa is saying that because the new CI has not been approved, that is why she is not doing a continuous registration for a period of 6 months, I am inclined to state that Madame Mensa is engaging in intellectual dishonesty. Everybody can put the respective CI down and analyze it. He has the constitutional power to determine the period within which limited registration is supposed to be conducted. And there is no CI. CI 91, as amended by CI 126, have not limited the EC chairperson to the number of days, weeks, months that limited registration is supposed to be conducted. So let us not engage in intellectual dishonesty. Now, amending the existing CI by limiting the source document to only Ghana card, how does it reflect in her ability to conduct a limited registration for a continuous period of 6 months? Let's be truthful to Ghanaians.
Well, Mr. Ahiafo, the EC
that will make all of us see.
The EC insists it will not change the proposed CI to accommodate your request to add the guarantor system. I mean, do you sense that Parliament will let the CI go through, when the House resumes in October, especially when the EC says that the new CI will allow them hold continuous registration?
As a member of Parliament, I have been a vice chairman for the Subsidiary Legislation Committee, and with the new CI, I sat with the committee throughout. As parliamentarians, we ask pertinent questions. What is the defect in the existing CI that the new one is coming to cure? We are not giving any tangible answer about the defect in the existing CI that the new one is coming to cure. Law is an instrument of social engineering. Law is supposed to be an aid to development. It is just a communicative action. So if the use of only Ghana card, having regard to the problem and the challenges being faced by national, the authorities that issue the Ghana card, if you limit the source document to only Ghana cards. You can imagine the number of eligible voters that will not be eligible to vote because they do not have Ghana cards. Genuinely, we can all attest to the fact that there are people who went through the process and they are supposed to get the Ghana card, but the card was not even available for them. What percentage of Ghanaians have Ghana cards? Let alone to talk about those who will turn 18 and those who have not been registered as voters. So we realize that the new CI will be causing more harm to Ghanaians than good. There is nothing useful in the new CI. The only thing being introduced by the new CI, I maintain, is the amendment of Regulation 1 to limit the source documents, which were 3, in line with the Supreme Court decision in the case of Abu Ramadan. Ghana card, passport, identification. They want to amend the existing CI that talks about these 3 documents as the source document to limit it to only Ghana card. That's the only thing being introduced in the new CI. They should look at the new CI related to the existing CI and point to me, Banarahia, for as well as the entire Ghanaian, a provision in the new CI that would enable them to do a continuous registration for a period of 6 months. And then a provision in the existing CI that disallows them from conducting a limited registration for a period of 6 months. He has the constitutional right. He has the discretion to determine the number of days, number of weeks, and number of months that a continuous registration exercise is supposed to be conducted. So her inability to do it for a longer period cannot be attributed to the non-passage of the new CI. That, I maintain, is an intellectual dishonesty. Secondly, we parliamentarians do not prepare budget for the EC, but we approve budget for the EC. If the EC were to be saying that she has prepared budget to conduct limited registration in an electoral area basis, that Parliament has not given an approval, that she has a point. But without saying so, then I do not think Parliament of the Republic of Ghana stands to be blamed for the inability of Madame Mensa, the chairperson of the EC, to conduct limited registration for based on electoral areas.
So, Mr. Ahiafo, you are asserting that Parliament will not let this pass?
Well, Parliament will not let it pass. So long as it limits the source document to only Ghana card, Parliament must not let this CI pass.
Well, let me pick your thoughts on the registration exercise in your constituency, Akachi South, though.
Well, in my constituency, it is a bit difficult in the sense that you have to engage in transporting people from far places to the district capital where the registration center is located. Because leaving them alone, somebody who has just turned 18, where would he or she be getting the money from to spend at least 40 to 50 cedis to the registration center and the same amount back? It's a bit difficult. So you have to get vehicles to convey them to the center with the associated time that will be spent. Because you can imagine somebody traveling from Klope in my constituency to Akachi. It will take you more than an hour in and an hour out, coupled with the time that you spend at the registration center with the associated expenses. So, but not for the provision of the transport for them. The numbers that we are getting now, we may not be getting the numbers. Secondly, we realize that since 3 days ago, we've been having a backlog. The number of people that will troop to the registration center or be conveyed to the registration center, the EC is not able to complete all the numbers, and some of them will have to go back and risk the chance of coming another time with the associated expenses. These are the challenges that we are facing. So I will not say that the registration in Akashi South constituency is moving smoothly as expected, and I believe it is the same with other areas.
Mr. Ahiafo, I'm grateful for your time. He is Akachi South MP and also ranking member on the Constitutional Legal Affairs Committee of Parliament.
I'm also grateful to you having me.
Let's stick with Parliament because Chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Environment, Science and Technology, Dr. Emmanuel Mafo, has attributed the many infractions happening in mining sites across the country on weak compliance to environmental safety standards. He also observes a key deficiency in public sector management is a lack of coordination and collaboration between state agencies mandated to execute policies, programs and laws for the welfare of society. Dr. Mafo made this assertion when he and other committee members visited the Anto Aboso explosion site in Shama to experience at first hand the happenings in the area which led to the explosion, which claimed 5 lives.
Assembly member for Obina Chrome, Emmanuel Owu-Ewie, narrated the incident to the committee. He was bitter about the continuous and deliberate negligence of quarry companies in the Shama district to safety standards.
My place is surrounded by my 8 quarries. So when I see an operation of a new quarry going around, I just inform them I've seen something here. So the right is to go to Mineral Commission because they are in charge of that. So when I informed the Mineral Commission, that's where they came to ask them to halt the operation. So when they halted the operation, about 4 or 5 months, all that I saw was that they were transporting material from a quarry somewhere about 1.5 kilometers from here. And then they will bring it here to crush. But they were not blasting. Until I heard one blast, then I came around and asked the gentleman in charge and said, oh, they are doing a test blast. And that they've gone to Mineral Commission and everything. I had a problem with the gentleman because I requested for their certificate for me to have a look at it. And lo and behold, he said they have done everything. The issue we have here is that there are a lot of quarries working, going through EPA and Mineral Commission to acquire permits within the region. It is something that is not in their books. You are here, they will come from Accra with a permit. Sometimes there's an activity going on, you go make attempt of halting them. Then somebody will call you, allow them to work.
The chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Environment, Dr. Emmanuel Mafo, was surprised to learn that there is no EPA official in the Shama district. The DCE Assembly member and the MP were invited to Parliament to help them understand what actually happened.
We decided to come around and to have a look for ourselves and investigate and see what caused the problem and whether there was some negligence on the part of environmental inspectors or whether the environmental safety standards that should accompany operations like this were observed or were neglected. So we came and we have seen for ourselves, we've heard for ourselves, and so we are of the view that the issues are too many. Some borders on the legality, the registration of the company operating, some borders on the performance of the relevant state agencies and whether they are doing their work as required by law or not. So we are of the view that this is an issue that we as a Committee on Environment will need to invite the stakeholders involved and interrogate the matters further.
Dr. Mafo was unhappy about the manner illegal activities are gradually becoming a norm in the area. He was concerned about the lack of compliance to environmental laws and how the situation was causing grave damages to the environment with associated health and economic challenges.
Generally, our findings is that galamsey is still pervasive even within the official concessions. And we think that for the official the companies that have concessions, the state has a responsibility to protect the concessions, and that one we must go back and make sure that we mobilize, the forces of the state to make sure the boundaries of these concessions are protected, so that people can do their business. We don't want anything to go out there that in Ghana, when you acquire concession, illegal people can even invade your concession and then operate in your concession. That will reduce business confidence in our country, and it will affect investment. It will affect our economy, in the long run. But apart from that, we are also concerned about the lack of reclamation and restoration of degraded landscapes.
The Anto Aboso is host to about 8 quarries and raises the concern for proper environmental management practices to safeguard lives and properties in the area.
Dozens of commuters for the second day running are still stranded at Wasola Bole Highway following torrential rains in the area that broke the banks of the Doli River. The only option for the stranded commuters are 2 canoes that can ferry them from one end to the other at a fare of 10 Ghana cedis, excluding luggage charges. Upper West Regional correspondent Rafiq Salam, who traveled to the area, reports the spontaneous increase in transport fares as passengers who wish to travel along the route need to do a detour of an extra 200 kilometers to reach their destinations.
The 12-hour Sunday rain came in torrents. Its intensity has never been seen in the enclave for decades. The effect is catastrophic and of monumental proportion. The Doli River, that has not been desilted for over 2 decades, broke its banks as a result of the violent floods and cut the highway into 2 equal halves. Maze of commuters got stranded on both sides of the highway. The well-compacted gravel-sealed bitumen was completely washed off, leaving only the skeleton of the concrete bridge. There was no human casualties, but farms closer to the waterways were destroyed. Passengers wishing to continue their journey only have one option: 2 canoes to ferry them from one end to the other at 10 Ghana cedis, excluding luggage charges.
I am carrying my load. What I'm going to do is business to eat with my mother and my brothers. So it's very difficult to cross.
So where is the vehicle for you to pass with?
No vehicle. We are using just some small ship to cross to Bole.
A ship from where to where?
Bole.
Ship? Where is the ship?
There is no ship there.
However, if you are faint-hearted and has phobia for the water that is about the size of half a football field, you have to take a detour of about 200 kilometers from either Sola to Fufusu Junction and Tachiman, or the vice versa. Communication lines were also destroyed by the floods.
And so this is the fiber cable, and they are also trying to retrieve the cable to enable them to restore the lines of these communication services here. So you can see that one of them is from Bodo. Master, tell me, what's your name?
I'm Emmanuel Baberi.
Okay, what are you doing now?
We are trying to restore the link. This link has affected so many sites. So yesterday we were here, but we couldn't restore it due to the water content. It's today that we came back and we have access to the cable, and we are now trying to lay the cable across so that we do temporary work and later on we come and do the normal work.
Savannah Regional Minister Said Jibril Mwazu, accompanied by his opposite number from the Upper West region, Dr. Bin Sali, visited the affected area to get first-hand information with a view to fixing it.
Somewhere in 1993. And since then, we've been doing spot improvements on the road, but the major works have not been done. But so far, we've seen that the level of destruction is something that we have to take seriously, and also to make sure that we get the road more travel very, very soon.
Ourselves, but even before coming here, we have
made contacts with the road minister, the chief director, the chief executive of the Ghana Highway Authority to ensure that we get a speedy remedy to what has happened. The Upper West region is severely hit.
The incident has however resulted in spontaneous increment of transport fares, specifically persons traveling to Kumasi or Accra. The Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, has added transport fares from Wa to Kumasi by 40 Ghana cedis. Alaji Nuhu Mahama is the Senior Industrial Relations Officer of the Upper West branch of the GPRTU, and he defends the increment.
If we have added 40 cedis to the 140, making it 180 Ghana cedis. Don't you think that is too high a price? In fact, we are very sympathetic with our transport, our traveling public. So we were intending to increase it from 140 to 200, realizing the cost of the fuel and the distance. But we said we have to be very sympathetic with them, so we reduced it to 40 instead of 50.
For the VIP buses traveling to Accra, they have only done an increment of 20 Ghana cedis. Oli Rahman Salifu is the war manager of VIP.
But the 20 cedi is not too high. If we look at it, the 20 cedi increment is not up to 20 gallons of fuel. And that place, looking at it, about a 90 miles averagely. That's averagely 90 miles is freely. So due to that, if you don't add anything, you can't be able to cover. And there can be a type S, or there can be a different distance in a car.
Passengers are, however, not happy with the increment in the transport fares.
Both. The long journey, 1, the increments, 2, and the time.
So once there's an increment, though the journey will be stressful, I think that's the thing that we are going to face will be stressful, because in as much as we have been passing the other road, we might not be stressful, but this one, the road is a bit longer.
From the look of things, it appears the highways will not be fixed permanently in the next few days. What government needs to do, however, to assuage the pain and frustration of commuters is to create a direction to enable them have easy access from one end of the highway to the other.
Several vehicles that are parked here, and also their mates or driver mates are looking for passengers. So you can see that they are calling on passengers to come and join their vehicles for them to move into the Upper West region. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam, Doli, Savannah region.
And from the Savannah region to the Ashanti region, where details have emerged of how a house help murdered his employer at Sokobana Paso near Kumasi. The details contained in court documents revealed the accused journalist got hired a day after applying for the position of a house help from an Accra-based employment agency and allegedly committed the murder 6 days after resuming work. The Sokorimampon District Court was told how the key suspect applied to become a house help and got posted the following day to his new employer he ended up murdering. My colleague Ohim Interior was in court and has come through with this report.
Alesta applied for work on September 4, 2023 and resumed work the following day, assigned to the woman he allegedly murdered in Kumasi. On September 11, 2023, at about 11 a.m., moments after the deceased had prepared fufu which she enjoyed with the accused, she was stabbed in the stomach, hit several times on the head and face with a club. The accused is said to have taken advantage of the absence of the 11-year-old daughter of his madam, who had gone to school. According to police, Alesta, after committing the act, invited the second and third accused persons, that is James Anoche and Juan Collins, to the home of the deceased and bolted with a Kia Sportage vehicle with registration GS 307-21, Samsung mobile phone, rice, cooking oil and items. They then escaped to Accra, made contact with Biggie, a fourth accomplice who is at large, to sell the vehicle to Christian Obu, the fifth accomplice who is also at large. Alester, after the sale of his Madam's Kia Sportage vehicle, used some of the proceeds to buy a Toyota Vitz car with registration number GS 3107-23. Whilst the second, third and fourth accomplices were being pursued, the fifth accused person abandoned the Kia Sportage vehicle at Oyibi police station and bolted. Following a report to the police, the crime scene management team discovered the body of the late Stella Osei, also known as Princess Efia Ahinkai, in the garage of her Aboso home. A blood-stained club believed to have been used by the accused person to murder the woman was also discovered at the crime scene on Tuesday, 12 September 2023. A police intelligence-led operation led to the arrest of the first and second accused persons in their hideouts in Accra on September 14, 2023. The two were then escorted to face trial in Kumasi. Prosecution, led by ASP Stephen Ofori, prayed the court to grant a request to release the Kia Sportage to the husband of the deceased, whilst a Toyota Vitz vehicle acquired with proceeds from the crime is also impounded by police. Despite the plea of the accused persons not being taken, the key suspect broke bounds, raised his hand and signaled the court he had something to say. He told the court he has accepted responsibility and pleaded with the court to be lenient with him before the Asokwe-Mampong District Court. But prosecution, led by ASP Stephen Ofori, says due process would be followed in the trial.
This is a case of murder and the due process has to follow. Even though he has told the court that he admits whatever happened, but the due process must follow. So when docket is completed, we forward to AG for his advice before the processes will start. That's the saddest part.
A father-in-law to the deceased, who witnessed proceedings in court, says he was saddened to hear 5 persons were involved in the murder. According to him, the husband of the deceased, who is based in the United Kingdom, has been crying all day over the callous murder of his wife.
You arrived tonight from London, but you've been crying all along.
From Asokwe-Mampong for JoyNews, Waimenteria reporting.
Back here in Accra, CDD research fellow Kwame Sapon-Sedu is urging government to prioritize research and data-driven decision-making in the healthcare sector. Speaking at a public lecture organized by JoyNews and various professional bodies on the theme Down Memory Lane 1993 to present, has this democracy delivered a health dividend for Ghanaians? He said the failure of Ghanaians to raise concerns when a new government starts building new health facilities, while previous ones by the past government remain unfinished, is a significant reason for the inefficiencies we witness in our health sector.
The Agenda 111 project includes district hospitals, 6 regional hospitals in newly created regions, 2 specialized hospitals in the middle and northern belts, as well as a regional hospital in the western region and renovation of the Ifeanyi Regional Hospital. The minority in Parliament in August said government's Agenda 111 project, which was launched 2 years ago, has delayed due to funding challenges. Deputy ranking member on the Health Committee of Parliament, Dr. Market Nawani, said government has not been fair and truthful to Ghanaians, an assertion denied by government. Speaking at the public lecture at the British Council, CDD fellow and pharmacist Kwame Sapon-Sedu said failure of Ghanaians to speak up when a government starts the building of new health facilities when previous ones by the past governments remain uncompleted as one of the reasons for the waste we see in our health infrastructural projects.
The truth is our politicians are very good storytellers and sloganeers. They are well aware that investments in health take a while to trickle down as health outcomes. For example, achieving significant improvement in infant mortality rates may take between 5 and 10 years. For life expectancy, it can take around 10 to 20 years. And for maternal mortality rates, it can take between 10 and 15 years. Therefore, they are clear that they cannot claim credit for most of these outcomes over a 4 or even 8-year term. However, if they build a hospital, CHIPS compound, or pay trainee nurse allowances, they could point to these at the next election, whether or not these are value for money investments or misplaced priorities. Being the storytellers they are, they opt for the tangibles and carve these stories around them. Hence, slogans like Agenda 111 have become catchphrases on which votes are procured. But then again, we are partly to blame. Is it not strange that in a country whose constitution speaks of the directive principles of state policy, we find a government commencing building of new health facilities when the previous facilities started by the previous government remain uncompleted? How have we as citizens become so divided and supine that we fail to stand up when things like this happen, knowing very well that the main driver of such schemes is procurement and sometimes sleaze? This is a major contributor to the waste we see in our health infrastructural projects, and perhaps a major contributor to why health inputs yield marginal outcomes. When they try to compare their performance in health, our politicians elect to compare with the performance of their opponents, not with the performance of countries with similar GDP or health expenditure per capita.
He says data and evidence must inform decisions in the health sector.
To achieve this, we must, 1, engage in inclusive conversations. The development of a sustainable health policy should be rooted in conversations that include voices from all levels of society. Inclusivity ensures that the policy framework addresses the diverse needs and challenges faced by different segments of our population. The era when politicians come out with a plan and sell it to us as the solution without understanding what our pain points are must be buried. Our leaders must first listen, think, and then dream. It is only after having a dream should planning commence. 2, prioritize research and data-driven decision-making. The journey towards better health outcomes must be guided by data and evidence. Rigorous analysis of health indicators, comparison with similar nations, and regular assessment of progress are essential for informed decision-making. Embrace long-term vision. While politicians often seek short-term victories, the dividend of a functioning health system manifests over time. Policymakers must adopt a long-term perspective that prioritizes sustainable improvement in health indicators.
Senior lecturer at the Economics Department of the University of Ghana, Priscilla Chumesi Bafo, says health is wealth and income is not a sufficient condition for development.
I'm not surprised that the health outcomes that we see are not great, and at best it appears we have been quite sluggish in the growth whilst others are growing faster in the right direction. Why? Because we know that development is a continuous process, and development which must translate into high incomes for citizens, good education, better health outcomes, and social security for all. It's a continuous process. But when you track the growth trajectory of this country, it has been quite checkered. So there is the need under this democratic dispensation to look at the sources of vulnerability. What happens to the productive sectors of this economy that makes the economy struggles to grow in the right direction, to yield some of these dividends, including healthcare outcomes.
Pharmacist and consultant William Ufori says more has to be done to improve Ghana's health sector.
There are less than 12 neurologists for the 15 plus million adults or 32 million population. They are less than 12. I'm not just talking neurologists. Interventional cardiologists, they are less than 12. Endocrinologists, they are less than 12. Nephrologists, they are less than 12. Medical oncologists, they are less than 12. That is scary.
We're still live on JoyNews Desk. When we return, we'll bring you the very latest from the world of business. Time now for business. Ghana Journalists Association (GJA) and telecommunications giant MTN have agreed to work more closely together to champion media sustainability and viability in Ghana while supporting business activities and product advocacy. The two bodies agreed on the pact when the GJA paid a courtesy call on the leadership of MTN at their head office here in Accra. H.A.C. Kankun was there for JoyNews.
The Ghana Journalists Association has paid a courtesy call on the leadership of MTN at their head office in Accra. According to the executives of the GJA, the visit was to enhance and deepen the relationship between both organizations in the pursuit of their goals and objectives. The GJA president announced that Ghana had won the bid to host the third African Media Convention. This, he said, was an attestation to the confidence reposed in the association and to the strong media industry in the country.
We are fulfilling one of our commitment to visit or paying courtesy call on the key partner institutions to deepen our relationship, strengthen the bond between us, and to share ideas through our hard work and through the commitment of this current leadership. We're able to make a good case for Ghana among 7 other countries to be selected as the host for the third African Media Convention, powered by the African Union Commission, that's EU Commission, supported by UNESCO and other partners.
The Chief Executive Officer of MTN Ghana, Mr. Selom Adadevo, stated that MTN has always been committed to improving the quality of journalism in the country and will remain steadfastly committed to support the GJA.
All of you again. The GJA is an important association in this country. It also is an important association to us as a business. So we look forward to working closely with you through this period and hopefully continue to further the growth of journalism within the country. I mean, for us, as you know, I mean, the quality of journalism is an important area for us. There are a number of initiatives that we've already launched and carried out. The discipline that journalism brings and expresses is also extremely important to us. And these are the things we look out for, but also try to support in our own small ways. And it looks like your own objectives are well in line with ours as well. So that's great.
The Senior Manager for Corporate Communications at MTN, Georgina Asare-Fiagbenu, emphasized that the media was an important agent in the promotion of the telecommunications industry. She enumerated several ways in which the media and MTN can work in a mutually beneficial manner.
Just to reiterate the fact that we'll continue to work with you. Our doors are always open, and from here we'll be having more engagements with you so that we do things for our mutual benefit. We'll continue to do some of the things that Gina has highlighted, and we hope we are counting on your support as well for your understanding on some of the issues that are important for the industry, not only for MTN. And in terms of training as well, to support the training for the industry, because we need that. The reportage for the industry has to be one that supports the growth of the industry.
And that does it for the business segment. And as I wrap up the bulletin this morning, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. Log on to myjoyonline.com. There's more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. See you again at 12.